All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a close look at Surfer SEO. Now, this is a tool that makes a pretty bold promise to crack the code of Google's algorithm. But the real question is, can you actually turn ranking into a science? Or do you just end up creating content that sounds like it was written for robots? Let's find out.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the promise that pretty much fuels the entire SEO industry. Can you really take apart a top-ranking article and figure out how to build your own? Well, Surfer SEO was built on the idea that, yeah, you absolutely can. And not only that, you can turn it into a repeatable formula.
So, what is Surfer SEO when you boil it all down? Okay, imagine a tool that does all the homework for you. It goes out, scans the top ranking pages for whatever keyword you're targeting, and basically comes back with a data-driven blueprint. It's essentially telling you, hey, here's what's already winning. Follow this recipe. The whole point is to take the guesswork out of it and replace it with a formula. To really get a feel for this tool, you kind of have to know where it came from. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It actually started as an in-house tool at a Polish SEO agency. And, that tells you a lot about its DNA. It was built by people in the trenches for people in the trenches. And if you look at its history, you can see a really clear path. It was founded and launched back in 2017, jumping right into a pretty obvious gap in the market. And its ambition is obvious. I mean, when you start introducing features like an API, you're not just playing in the sandbox with bloggers anymore. You're aiming straight for the big enterprise clients. Okay, so now let's pop the hood and see what you're actually getting. What are the tools inside Surfer? It really comes down to 5 main features that are all designed to work together and guide you from idea to finished article. Let's do a quick fire round of the main tools, all right? First up, you've got the SERP analyzer. That just deconstructs the top search results to see what they all have in common. Then there's the content editor, which is like having a little SEO coach on your shoulder giving you a live score as you write. The audit tool is for sprucing up your old content. And finally, you've got keyword research and the topical map, which are all about planning, finding new ideas, and seeing where you're falling behind your competitors. So with all those features in mind, let's start with the good stuff. What is it that users genuinely appreciate about Surfer SEO? What makes them pull out their credit cards? Well, the 2 biggest draws seem to be simplicity and speed. Users just rave about the clean interface and those real-time suggestions. It feels like you've got an expert guiding you. And for agencies, man, the ability to crank out data-backed content briefs in just minutes, that's a total game changer. It all really boils down to one thing: making the whole content creation process way more efficient. But here's the big question. Does it actually work? Well, one study found a 26 to 28% correlation between getting a high content score in Surfer and your actual Google ranking. Now, let's be super clear about what that means. It shows a positive connection, which is definitely significant, but it is far, far from a guarantee. It's proof that the tool can help, for sure, but it is not a magic wand that's going to get you that #1 spot every time. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So now, let's flip the script and look at the other side of the coin. What are the common complaints? What are the limitations that people keep running into with this tool? And yeah, there are quite a few. The price is a huge one, especially since there's no free trial to let you kick the tires. People also complain that its keyword research tool is pretty basic. But honestly, the biggest criticism is more of a strategic one. It can push you to create content that just feels robotic and over-optimized. And in this era of Google's helpful content updates, writing for an algorithm instead of a real person isn't just a style issue, it's a real ranking risk. And this quote from Reddit just hits the nail on the head. It really captures that central problem. By focusing so heavily on just copying what's already ranking, a lot of experienced SEOs argue that Surfer just encourages conformity. You end up with an article that's stuffed with all the right keywords and looks a lot like your competitors, but it has no soul, no unique voice, and no real insight. And yeah, let's circle back to the price tag. The starter plan is nearly $80 a month, and the next one up jumps to $175. For a freelancer or a small business, that is a serious investment for a tool that's really specialized and doesn't do everything you need for SEO. And you know what's really interesting? According to the source material, there's some frustration with how the company has treated some of its most loyal, long-term customers. There are reports from people who've been using it for years who suddenly lost access to features they'd always had, or got forced to upgrade, or saw their prices go up without any kind of loyalty reward. It seems to have left a bad taste in the mouths of some of its earliest fans. So, after weighing all the pros and all the cons, it's time for the final verdict. Is Surfer SEO actually the right tool for you and what you need to do? So, who is this really for? Well, on one hand, it seems like a perfect fit for agencies and big content teams that need to scale up their production using a predictable, data-driven template. But on the other hand, if your brand is all about originality and thought leadership, or if you're a freelancer on a tight budget, Surfer's super narrow focus and high price might just not be the right move. Now, we have to be totally transparent here. The source we've been using for this explainer actually concludes by saying its own platform, which is called Search Atlas, is the best alternative. So it's really important to keep that in mind as we look at the bigger picture of this review. And the key difference they point out is this. Surfer is a specialist. It's like a surgeon that does one thing, on-page content optimization, and does it very, very well. The alternative they're proposing, Search Atlas, is positioned more like a general practitioner, an all-in-one platform that tries to cover everything from backlinks and technical stuff to content. It's just a broader scope. Ultimately, deciding whether to use a tool like Surfer really boils down to a fundamental question about your content strategy. Is your goal to follow the data and just match what Google is already rewarding, or is your goal to lead the conversation with something completely new and original? The right tool for you really depends on how you answer that question.